Teak, if I told you right now that, in a weird way, that the Drew Brees injury is a blessing, can you buy that at all, or does that sound ridiculous?
When you first say it, because I didn't know you were going to say that, it sounds utterly ridiculous.
Okay.
But I only know because I know you for so long. I know you're saying that because you have a reason behind it.
Of course I do.
And so I'm trying to think of the reason. And the only reason I can think of is because it portends the injuries that Drew Brees is continually getting. Turned out he had 5 broken ribs, BT.
I know.
5. I mean,
You ever break a rib?
Yeah.
What is it? That's like the only thing I haven't had. What does that feel like?
I cracked one. Like I think I told you the stories in training camp. Maybe it was years ago, probably like our first or second year.
I don't think I know this one,
but
actually.
I slightly cracked. It was just a little bit of a chip, right? But the painful thing was the cartilage, like the cartilage between your ribs. And it felt like someone was stabbing me. Right? Over and over and over and over again. Every time I breathed, I'd take a breath or would move, it felt like someone was stabbing me. Oh, it was so,
right?
It was
Stretch
so
in bed.
painful. Exactly.
Yeah.
So painful, BT. That was the only time. And ever since then, I started wearing, rib pads in camp. And then just the back flap in games because it was brutal pain.
Did you get hit or did you get stretched out?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Really?
It just one day I went to practice. It probably happened in a live drill in training camp. You know what I mean? And because I was young and I was still taking live drills. I was 22 years old. The next day I go out and I'm warming up and I'm like, oh, I think I'm having a heart attack. I swear I thought I was having a heart attack because it was right
turn
here.
the drill around. Tiki's dying.
Right?
Let's go. Ty Wheatley, got anything left? Let's go.
Exactly. It turned out it was like a rib cartilage thing, and then they took an X-ray and it had a little tiny fraction.
Wait, is that the intercostal?
Yeah, right there.
I have had that. That is painful as hell.
It was so painful, dude.
That hurts.
And Drew Brees was playing with 2 broken for a week, and then he broke 3 more last week. I mean, dude, I knew he was tough, but I mean, he's tough. He's really tough.
Okay, but now...
yes, I can agree with you. I can agree with you.
Okay, good. So you do agree. But let me tell you why I think that it is. And you would probably get around to this, but maybe not, because it's not just one answer. Number one, let's say... the way they handle the Bucs, I'm actually beginning to possibly reshape how I view the Saints, or was before the Brees injury. I didn't really think they could win the Super Bowl before that game. That gave me pause, and now I'm kind of back to thinking that they probably won't win if Drew doesn't come back. But if Drew was healthy, right, and he played, and they didn't win the Super Bowl, Drew's retiring. This is it for Drew Brees, right?
Yeah,
He's done. He's going to TV.
Right. I think you're 100% right. He's already got a job lined up.
Already has it lined up, already set. So, and it'll probably be pretty good. So if he doesn't get hurt, you are making organizational decisions based on mostly, obviously a little tape, a lot of conjecture, a lot of organizational conjecture. And there is whether it's Taysom Hill, who I would not give the job to full-time myself.
No.
Nor do you know if Jameis Winston, while we love his talent, we don't know if he has fully eradicated the demons that infiltrated his body. Now you get answers.
Yeah. So, yes.
Is what I'm saying.
Yes, to your point, you get answers. Here's the interesting thing, and the only reason I'm saying this is because I heard our buddy, my former teammate, at least for a year, Kurt Warner, talking about this with Jameis Winston. And Kurt is he's the greatest, and he's able to put things like anything, no matter what side of an argument he's taking, he can put it in perspective. And he made this great point. He's like, "Look, I threw a lot of interceptions too, because what you're alluding to is does Jameis protect the football?" He threw a lot of interceptions because that was part of their game plan. It was to stretch the field to make a defense feel threatened all the time. We'll dink and dunk and we'll do all these little things, screen routes to Marshall Faulk, etc. on this grand show on turf with those early 2000 Los Angeles or St. Louis Rams teams. But he would throw interceptions because he was taking shots downfield. Now, back then, as crazy as it sounds, because it was only, 20 years ago, but it is back then, you weren't really penalized that much for throwing a lot of interceptions. Like, you could have 15 or 16 interceptions, and it was
most quarterbacks did.
Exactly.
Most quarterbacks did.
And if you go a generation before, you usually threw more interceptions than you threw touchdowns, right?
As Terry Bradshaw, as Dan Fouts.
Yeah, Dan Fouts. I was forgetting whose guy we looked up. We're like, this dude has more career interceptions than touchdowns, and he's in the Hall of Fame. And so it's continually evolved to now where we we look at a guy like Aaron Rodgers who throws 28 touchdowns and 2 interceptions and say, well, that's what you better be. And if you're not that, then you're not good enough to be a starter in the National Football League. Now, 30 and 30 or, 31 and 33, whatever Jameis threw last year is also unacceptable. But he takes a risk. And I think we have this idea that he can be coached out of taking those risks. Bruce Arians really couldn't do it because Bruce Arians is the epitome of a risk taker.
He's feeding into it.
He's feeding into it.
Yeah, he is.
You're feeding into his biggest weakness, so to speak. Sean Payton isn't so much that. So I actually, as crazy as this sounds, because I love Bruce, I do.
I hear
and he's had such great success, and he's a quarterback whisperer. We've seen it over the course of his career. I think Sean Payton, in particular with Jameis Winston, has a better opportunity to, I put in quotes, fix Jameis Winston than Bruce Arians did, because it's not about, take no risk, get no biscuit. Let's take those shots downfield. It's about, let's find an advantage, right? What do you do well? What can I game plan well? Let's make these guys look foolish and use our advantages best that we can and find ways to win games that way. And that's what Sean Payton's strength is. And so, I think to your point, they're going to find out what Jameis Winston has and how he can work with Sean Payton. And we saw this last year with Teddy Bridgewater. You're feeling for Drew Brees. You do well on a team that's set to win on both sides of the football. You can parlay that into a free agent contract, as Teddy B did with the Carolina Panthers. Jameis Winston has an opportunity to do the same thing now, whether it's for 2 weeks or for a month or 6 weeks. You've heard, varying lengths of this injury. He could parlay that into another opportunity. That opportunity might be with the New Orleans Saints, because of what you just mentioned about Drew Brees likely being done.
Okay, so without exhausting, because I want to get back to Winston, but make sure we're on the same page. Taysom Hill, you can't hand him the keys. No, I cannot.
You are completely changing your offense. Taysom Hill was a really good quarterback at BYU. He ran for more yards than he threw for, I think. And you're turning into a college zone read offense.
Okay, so we're on the same page.
I don't see that working full time.
Okay, so working under the premise, or the old premise, because it's obviously not the case. We don't know how much time Drew Brees is going to miss. But imagine if Drew Brees did what he always does outside of last year for the most part, and early on when he got hurt with the Chargers, where he plays every game. And Jameis is, he's engaged in practice, and he's eating the W after the wins. And he's doing the wacky pregame end zone stretches and dances, whatever the hell that is, with his hips. I don't even know what he's doing there. It's on his heels. I know it's
that was so odd. It was so odd.
But now imagine if all the answers that you have about Jameis Winston have come in the form of him responding to non-live bullets. You know what I mean? Again, you're really trying to piece together to get the answer that could either bridge your organization forward for 5 to 7 years or can lead you to make the wrong move. And what I mean by that is, let's say Brees played every game this year, and there's 2 teams next year that come and say, you know what? I know he didn't play much this year at all for the Saints, but we believe in his talent. Sean Payton coach, smart. He's in the same room with Drew Brees for a year. Sean coached him up on the practice field. 3 years, $90 million.
Yeah,
that's not implausible.
True, but it's not happening.
Okay, then 3 years, $75 million.
Maybe. Maybe. But I doubt it. I really doubt it.
I doubt it too. But what I'm saying is, at least if that happens now, right? And it will definitely happen if he balls out.
Yeah.
But if Drew Brees plays every snap, it just takes one rogue team to say, you know what? I'm going to roll the dice on Jameis Winston. Here's the 3 year 75. Here's the 4 year 80. Whatever the money is. But it's a lot more than you want to spend without having the answer.
Yeah.
At least now the Saints can make an informed answer based on actually watching him play.
Yeah, the Saints and whoever else is looking, because he's
no, I know, but that's why. But Teke, that's why I prefaced it with: is it a blessing in disguise for the Saints? I'm putting the rest of the NFL aside.
Yeah,
they'll clearly benefit by watching him play. But the Saints, think about this: the Saints could have been staring at, and will be, Drew Brees retiring without Jameis Winston taking a meaningful snap and not knowing if Taysom Hill is more than a gadget guy. They will have an answer now, is what I'm saying.
No, that's a great point.
That's huge.
Look, at the end of the day, so huge. I think Jameis and the Saints, because he was a free agent, He wasn't cut. He wasn't on waivers. Not like the Saints picked him up before someone else could. He was a free agent because they didn't sign him after his fifth year, and his fifth-year option expired. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, so he could go anywhere. Jameis picked the perfect place to go. And I think the Saints picked the perfect player to be that experiment behind Drew Brees, BT, because Sean Payton knows him. He's played against him, obviously, for the entirety of his career. So he's seen him. He's dissected him on tape, I can imagine, countless times. And so he knows him. He knows him intimately well. And he was going to get him in his locker room under his umbrella and be able to teach him and see what he has. And for Jameis, think about all the other places that he could have gone. Jacksonville would have been.
I don't think he had that many offers, Teak.
No, I don't think he had any.
Oh, okay.
But my point is, he could have gone, say, to Jacksonville. Sure. Right?
Yeah.
And we know where that place, you know where that's going. He's not going to win down there, and they're going to draft a quarterback. So it would have been a fruitless endeavor, right? He could have went to, I don't know, Indianapolis, but I don't know if that maybe that would have been a good spot because he would have started right away, but he wouldn't have had the tutoring under Sean Payton.
Frank Reich. I think Reich would have been good for him.
But he would have been playing right away. That's my point.
I got you.
You know what I mean? So he'd have been evaluated immediately.
Gotcha.
Whereas in New Orleans, he's kind of chilling. Like he was observing and taking it all in. And then when he gets a chance to take over, he actually played pretty well. You know what I mean? He threw a couple of passes that were questionable. Luckily, they weren't intercepted, but he led them on 2 scoring drives and secured the win for them when they lose their quarterback. Teddy Bridgewater in that exact same situation last year played terrible. Yeah, but he played terrible in the game that he had to come in.
Yes, I think that was the Cowboys game, right?
That's right.
They scored 10. Didn't they win that game 10-6?
Yeah, it was something weird. It was something ugly. He played terrible, and then he played great after that. But the game he came in, he played terrible.
He did not play well that game.
And so, it's the perfect situation for him for Jameis, and I can't say he did it on purpose, but he lucked. If he did do it on purpose, then great for him, and good selection for both of them.
All right, let me give you 30 seconds on this, and I'll give you the last word. We're going to get into that coaching college kids in the year 2020 off the Greg Marshall story, but pushing it forward and applying it to different situations. You guys are going to want to, especially with kids. You have young kids in high school, college. You guys want to make sure you stick around for this. Let's just say that Jameis just balls out. And there is an element to this offense that we haven't seen in probably a year or two with Drew. And let's say Drew's kind of healthy going into the playoffs, but you're not fully sure. Under any circumstance.
Does he lose his job?
Can you see Sean Payton saying, well, you're not really fully if Jameis is playing great.
Yeah.
Can you see him doing that? You know Sean.
I can't. No, I don't. I think Sean is about. I told you this before too about in the Bucs game where he had Drew Brees throw all those touchdowns so that he would be 3 ahead of Tom Brady. Now obviously Tom Brady caught up because Tom Brady had 4 touchdowns last week and Drew didn't have any. So now I think they're tied now. And so Sean is about the story and about how the story is going to be told. So if Drew Brees is healthy going into the postseason, then Drew Brees is going to be the quarterback for the New Orleans Saints.
I figured that would be your answer. I just wanted to, again, prefaced by if Winston is balling.
Yeah.
Same answer?
Yeah, I still think it is.
Okay.
I still think it is.
All right, I got you. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell to be notified when we drop fresh content.